Regarding chemical safety at MNTL, we have several kinds of fume cupboards for bases and fume cupboards for acids, as well as solvents. Always be aware to use the proper fume cupboard and never leave unlabeled containers of liquids in the hoods, especially overnight. Anything that is left unlabeled will be removed, and the glassware removed as well. You must always use a secondary container if you're transporting chemicals from area to area. And please note that we do have reusable chemical labels available, as well as labels for each batch of chemicals. Chemicals must be stored in a properly labeled container, which are constructed of the appropriate materials and not materials that the chemical itself will attack. All chemicals must be stored in chemical cabinets under the hoods or in the basement chemical vaults. You can contact MNTL staff about vault storage if you have quantities of chemicals to store. Label all chemicals with your name, your professor's name, the date, the purpose of the chemical mix, and be aware that chemical inventory is done every summer so that anything that is out of date, it will be removed. Material safety data sheets or safety data sheets must be provided by the user for all chemicals that are brought into the clean room. Here's an example of acetone, which includes product identification, the composition, the hazards identification, for example, whether it's problematic with your health or highly flammable, has a high reactivity, or if contact with skin is problematic. NFPA ratings are in three categories: health, flammability, and reactivity. Low numbers are not hazardous, and higher numbers are hazardous. So 0 to 4 is the activity range. Please be aware that if you're working with a higher rating material, you must take more and appropriate actions. The MNTL lab provides a number of chemicals. The list that we have available at the moment is acetone, isopropyl alcohol, methanol, hydrogen peroxide, hydrochloric acid, hydrofluoric acid, nitric acid, ammonium hydroxide, phosphoric acid, sulfuric acid, buffered oxide etch, which does have HF in it, and AZ400K developer. Hydrofluoric acid poses significantly higher risks than other acids. Everyone who goes into the clean room must have taken the DRS online training. To use HF, you must have read the MNTL hydrofluoric acid standard operating procedure. You must have passed the quiz and have a sticker on your clean room badge in order to be able to work with HF in the clean room. If you do not have the sticker, you will be asked to leave the clean room until you get appropriate documentation and training. Always use the appropriate personal protection equipment. This includes gloves, acid apron, acid shield, and appropriate acid-resistant Tyvek booties. HF is only allowed in certain hoods. Please use this only in the designated HF hoods, which are located in room 235 and 226. Dispose of your HF fluids properly, which in our case means down the drain with copious amounts of water running through the system until the acid is removed. Rinse the basin that the HF went down properly, and be aware to always use HF with caution. We do have calcium gluconate available in each hood. If you suspect that you may have gotten HF on your skin, rinse your skin for 5 minutes, apply calcium gluconate gel copiously, and immediately seek medical attention. either with staff or at a hospital. Regarding chemical spills, always clean up countertop spills within the hood immediately. If you do have concerns, just contact staff for assistance. If a spill does occur outside the fume hood, all personnel should leave the area immediately. Call the control room at 244-4479 during staff operating hours, which are from 7 to 11 weekdays. Staff is present in the building at least from 8 till 6 in the morning. Alternately, you can call 911 or 333-1216, the Division of Public Safety, during any other times. Give the name of the chemical spilled, the amount, and the exact location of the spill if you do call for help. If a chemical has been splashed on you or another person, immediately wash with copious amounts of water, 5 minutes for hydrofluoric acid, and at least 15 minutes in the safety shower for other chemicals, or eye wash for 15 minutes if you get it in your eyes. Do not attempt to clean up a major hazardous spill by yourself. Always get help. You could be exposing yourself to a greater danger. Hazardous waste is defined as solvent waste, acid waste, and solid solvent disposal. There are dumbwaiter locations as indicated on this mask, both in the Class 1000 white area and the Class in the Class yellow area. Solvent waste, please remember to close the lid when you do administer solvent waste into the solvent waste container. Collect all solvent waste in the designated containers in the solvent hoods, and separate out the halogenated versus non-halogenated solvents, remembering that halogens are chlorine, fluorine, etc. For waste disposal, transfer the solvent waste into the larger 10-liter plastic jerry cans when the countertops become full, and remember to place bottles and containers of chemical waste in the dumbwaiter when they are full to send them down to the basement. Do notify the control room when you have delivered some acid into the dumbwaiter. Waste bottle disposal, do rinse out any empty chemical bottles thoroughly and dispose of caps and put the empty bottles in the dumbwaiter when they are rinsed out. For acid waste, most acid waste can go down the drain as long as plenty of water is flowing, with the exception of HF waste and acid waste containing heavy metals. Solid waste is defined as sharps and aromatics and the ordinary trash. Place all solid waste in a proper receptacle. Broken glass or sharp objects should go into the sharp container. Waste containing solvents in the aromatic waste container, and all other waste in the trash can. Safety equipment. If you haven't been trained on a tool, you're not allowed to use it. If something does appear broken, don't walk away. Please inform the super user as soon as possible so that they can repair and remedy the situation. If you walk into a room and hear any alarm or unusual sounds, and some tools do have audible alarms, please contact the control room or the super user immediately so that they can address the issue. And if you notice any leaking water, please inform the control room or the super user so that leaks can be repaired. If you do need to activate an alarm, the big red button is covered by a shield. Just lift the cover and you'll hear the alarm go off. If you push this button, you will empty the building and response services will come to address the issue. Other lab hazards in the lab are burn type hazards. The tube furnaces operate at about 1200 degrees C, so please be aware that these are extremely hot. The hot plates operate at about 90 to 180 degrees C. So do be aware that these can be quite hot. Don't allow solvent bottles to drip onto the hot plates. And the plasma tools can have quite hot surfaces as well. We do have high-pressure gas cylinders and toxic gases. Please be aware that these are in the building. And if you see anything unusual with the gas bottles or hear any unusual noises or sounds, please notify the super users immediately. We do have 2 systems to ensure that users in the clean room have people to act as buddies. No one is allowed to work alone in the clean room if MNTL staff is not present during off hours. It is each user's responsibility to communicate with others in order to be certain that he or she is not left working alone. You are required to have someone in the clean room with you at all times. Operation of hazardous equipment during off hours is not allowed, and the co-op has been formed to facilitate off hours lab usage. If you want to work after hours, i.e. after 6 p.m. weekdays, weekends, or holidays, you must join the co-op. The MNTL Co-op sign-up is voluntary. Please note that card keys are disabled after 6 p.m. and on weekends unless you are part of the co-op. Each member will need to sign up for a 1 to 2 hour shift each month. Members must be in or near the clean room during their shift. A member will not be able to enter the clean room during this shift if no one else shows up, and failure to sign up during the month will result in removal of off-hours access for the next month. Also, failure to show up during one shift will result in losing access during off hours, and this is self-policed by the users, but staff must be notified. Cleanroom Protocol. Be aware that cleanroom compatible materials are only allowed in the cleanroom. For example, no paper, cardboard, or pencils are allowed as these generate excess numbers of particles. Keep the deionized water flowing at a standby rate in each wet sink area. Do use the cleanroom wipes sparingly as they are rather expensive. Please remember to fill up solvent squirt bottles as necessary, and be aware that solvents are supplied solvents are stored under the solvent hood in room 235, and always clean up after yourself as you go. Labware storage is always a problem, so be aware to minimize the amount of materials that you bring into the clean room, and organize your labware by group. User tubs will soon be available for you to supply your labware storage in.